All right. Peace, power, and love as always, and greeting. Um, Thank you all, my subscribers. Appreciate you all for, taking time to watch the content. Um, Also, uh, tell a friend. Uh, I'm really ready to start having the ability to do lives where we can, converse back and forth. Uh, and that way, I can actually schedule lives as opposed to, just getting on here and, uploading a video. But I do appreciate all of you who have taken the time to subscribe to the channel. Like I say, I'm just a ordinary black man who's concerned about our condition, and wanting us to come together and, you know, deal with what's ailing us. So, yeah, I do appreciate you all very much. Um, Also, want to thank my activatemedia.org family and shout out Patrick Wilson. That's out of Boston, Mass. And he brought me aboard on their platform a couple of years ago. And I just enjoy doing the content, trying to reach the people, just trying to give a different perspective, a different way to think, and then a more uh, urgent reason for us to unite and start um, representing ourselves. And when I say that, I mean that in every way, representing ourselves and not always hoping and waiting on a savior or somebody to save us. Sometimes we have to focus on saving ourselves. So, um, I don't know even where to start, but let me put out this disclaimer because I don't want anyone to get offended by what I'm about to say. Because I am about to say some things that may not be popular with most. But I hope that all of you who are subscribed to the channel have an open mind about what I am fixing to say. Um, it is a subject that I don't talk about much. I really try to stay away from it, but I'm going to intertwine it and let you all, judge for yourself, because to me it's been right in front of us. But with all the distractions and everything that happens, throughout this country and the world, to keep you from focusing on what really matters. And, the world doesn't seem to think we matter. I was watching Indisputable earlier, and there was a story on there that Sharon Reed had done earlier about, and I haven't looked at the article myself yet, but I intend to read it just to see, get a little more in depth with it. But what she did, she's a Republican, Hispanic, Latino, and she was really talking derogatory about black people and said that Juneteenth was a ratchet holiday. Uh, and that doesn't really bother me because I mean ignorance is ignorance, and that's just what that is. I learned to let certain things roll off my back like water. And, my mom always told me growing up, my granddad, you know, pick your fights wisely, choose your fights wisely. Because everything doesn't have to be a confrontation. Um, and so she said what she said and went on. I didn't really catch all of what she said, but that just jumped out at me, and that's why I say I'm gonna have to check that article out so that I can, you know, get a little more information. But that's the world that we live in. Sad to say, but unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. You know, there are people out here who despise us for no other reason than us being us. And this is why I say my focal point is black first and making sure that we're taking care of one another collectively. Because just like in the 60s, when our elders and ancestors had to rely upon one another, there's going to come a day where we're going to need each other. I'll throw it on in now. I mean, I say this every video. We need each other. I can't make it no plainer, and I can't stop saying it because that's so simple. You know, uh, we've had the black print in several generations prior to now, and now we just refuse to come together and unite as a collective force. Because if and when we unite, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Whenever we decide to come together and unite, and like I always say, when I say a force or I refer to revolution and or whatever, I'm not talking about physicality. There's, like I broke it down a couple of videos ago, there's several instruments that are used within a revolution, just like with force. Hey, there's several ways. Economically being the first way, because if we take our money from this system and start using it for, I want y'all to think about this right now, and I'm talking about right now. And first thing back to 2020 when Biden and Harris, Miss Chucks and Pearls, I almost said something else, but anyway, yeah, when reparations was a big topic, uh, everybody was talking reparations. It was on several black platforms. Uh, on a few, news stations, it was mentioned. But nonetheless, if you look at the list of people the U.S. has paid reparations to, we're the only group that has yet to receive reparations from this country. And we all know by now, when slavery was abolished, that they repaired the slave owners. They reparated the slave owners for losing that free labor. So they broke off the slave owners, you know, gave them a bag, as you know, the term is, you know, used today. So that's really strike one. You know, they always, just like this Latina. And see, the facade is that, you know, because of who and what you see in power, they're in true power. And that's something that this system is not and hasn't been in a while. And I noticed the trend of Hispanics claiming white, you know, claiming Caucasian. I actually saw a couple of videos on YouTube here, and it was a Hispanic girl and a Hispanic guy, but yeah, both of they were showing their driver's license, and yeah, both of them had Caucasian. And the person that was interviewing, it was just one of them street interviewers, you know, uh, asked them why, and they was like, well, we want to, you know, be with the so-called power structure, you know. So with that being said, and this is why I always say we need to really get a black first mindset and start really critically worrying about us and collectively start taking care of one another. I'm getting into my subject because that's why I gave the disclaimer. A lot of people have asked me, you know, people that know me, because I don't go to church anymore. And, you know, they ask me, who do I pray to? Well, I pray to the Most High, Yahweh. At least from what I read, that was his name in Hebrew. Yahshua was the one referred to Jesus, but I'm not going to get all religious. I'm going to make some points and comparisons. And then I hope that you all are really listening, because this thing started back when Constantine them had the meeting and they created Christianity and made it the one world religion. Now, mind you, there were other religions around even back then. Uh, and I want to make a point. Notice that all of the religions we're involved in were forced upon us. Just like with the Muslims, that was an Arabian religion, Arabic, or however you say it. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Christianity, Constantine created. You know, and then there are, you know, the Asians have the Buddha, and, you know, there's several different versions. And that's why I myself personally just separated from the church, because my thinking was, if there's only one, why all of the different denominations? And then there's so much divisiveness within those denominations and within these churches and organizations and groups. And that's why I'm more interested on put all of that down. It should be black first, the focus. We let so many other things get in the way of our progression. And um, like I said, these all of these religions were forced upon us, beat into us rather. You know, uh, so you're only going to take so many whippings before you say, okay, yes, Jesus, you know, and yes, I worship their master. And I said that. I said that's their creation. They have always been good at creating facades and fairy tales and lies, the little white lies that are somehow catching up with them now. And they're so ashamed of slavery and don't want slavery to be taught to their children because they don't want their children to feel ashamed. Isn't that ironic? But they had no problem teaching that before now because that was still really during integration of the schools and all during the 70s and 80s, especially the early 70s. It was still a baby. So, they had no problem teaching American history and letting you know that you were bought and sold like cows and sheep and horses and goats. They didn't care if we felt ashamed as children. And I think about that. When I heard that on the news, I said to myself, how is it that, now it is a shame factor, but, and I'm going to tell you, as a child, I didn't really feel ashamed. I think I felt more just discouraged slightly uh, because I felt somewhat at a disadvantage at a young age. This is like elementary school, second, third grade, East Texas. Anyway, like I say, integration was brand new and it's, hadn't really come far. And really my point is just that I think that we really need to focus on following others' leads, and most of all, following the black print that was left by the ancestors and the elders, because some of us are still old enough to remember, having great grandparents and actually experiencing that. I always talk about village raising when we were more community based and we really relied on one another as opposed to always seeking outside help like we do. And if we simply change some of our habits and really truly focus on what's important, and what's important is being able to allow our children to live without struggling. being able to allow our grandchildren to live without struggling, um, allowing them an opportunity to at least have some sort of utopia here as opposed to RIP. And I say that all the time. You know, we deserve to live just like anybody else. Um, it's just funny to me though that these people who have done the most barbaric things in history now want to keep history, that history, out of the books because of shame. You know, uh, the gall, the audacity. But that's who we're dealing with. And like I say, they created the whole facade of white Jesus, which everybody should know by now is Caesar Borgia, however you say it. But um, facade, you know, all of that was done to the capture and build the so-called supposed one world religion. Just read about Constantine. Yeah, read about that. And the Council of Nicaea. Because that's what took place. And see, that's why I say, think about all this time we have been putting our spirit into their creation. And we've been giving our spirit to this Caesar Borgia. Because everybody, I mean, not now, for me anyway, but, you know, who did not identify with that picture, who did not, when the word Jesus was mentioned, did not think about that picture that I think everybody grandmama had, with him looking up to the side with the long flowing blonde hair. And when have one of them ever truly put their neck on the line for a lifetime? You know, how many of them have actually really had, well, I won't say now because it's quite a few of them now, and it was some then too. But then they started the classism game, but that's a whole nother topic. Um, um, you know, they treated poor people the same, white or black or Hispanic or Asian. And see, it's getting right back to that mindset. Are y'all not paying attention to this Make America Great Again thing that they are so excited about, and they so ready to let this convicted felon, and just for a second, a convicted felon in the free world can't vote. Sometimes you can't get a driver's license, you can't own any weapons. Sometimes, shit, you can't even find a job. But they about to let this fool, who is now a convicted felon, continue to run for president. Well, I'll be damned. So we should be really keeping up a lot of noise, because a lot of our loved ones are in or have been to jail and then get out and have that felony label, which, you know, keeps you excluded from several aspects of normal life or being a non-felon. But look at how America operates for its own. And that's why I say we should not be ashamed to do any damn thing that involves only us, because they do it every day, blatantly, right in our face, and then shit on us and don't even use no toilet paper. And we've been getting that for too long. And white Jesus can't save them, just like he hadn't saved us. And for those of you who still really are diehard, white men can't save you either. I'm tired of looking at the Joe Bidens, which ain't done nothing for us. Nothing that he said he was going to do. But don't forget that he passed that Asian hate crime bill, and Kamala Harris was standing right there behind him, clapping and smiling, because that's the heritage that she's been claiming her whole vice presidency. She ain't been Miss Chucks and Pearls during her vice presidency, but she showed put that slogan out there to draw the black vote in. That's all that was something catchy that we like, and we always coming up with catchphrases, and you know how we do. You know, shoot, we just do that, and it's natural, you know. But she chooses to deny that part of her heritage. And she hadn't spoken out for or done anything for the advancement of us. And remember, and you can probably Google this on YouTube, her exact words, she was asked, I can't remember the reporter, but was asked something about doing something, just for black people. And she said, word for word, well, no, we can't just do anything specifically for blacks, no. But you can do things specifically for everybody else. And I was making a point a while ago, but I got thrown off. But our tax dollars are paying right now for Ukraine to come over here, and they giving them land and giving them money and housing and helping them get started over here. Some of them were even able to apply for SSI and get it. And get it. Do you hear me? Now, when I went through my little situation with having this back surgery, I tried to get some assistance, but ain't nothing for us. And in the meanwhile, they giving Ukrainian refugees land, money, housing, kickstart. Doing the same thing for Israelis. Been doing it for them. Not to mention the billions of dollars that they have spent in Ukraine and in Israel. But when it comes to reparations, Miss Chucks and Pearls said that no, we can't do nothing just specifically for black people. No. And was serious. And it's a clip out now with her and Steve Harvey. He's interviewing her. That gatekeeping, bootleg, kiss ass, Sambo. Anyway, he up there talking about, no, they don't need no reparation, whoop and all this and that, and she's just sitting there shaking her head in agreement with him. And he really buck dancing and cooning, saying the right things. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. Like, you got that Steve, you got Roland Martin, Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley, all of them, out there talking that same rhetoric. And like I said, I did a video Damn the vote. The vote has never gotten us anything. What we really need to do is come together collectively and let our money work for us. And then we can control it. And we can create our own systems within a system. The Asians do it. The Hispanics do it. Every ethnicity does it. They have their own neighborhoods. They do business with each other. You don't see no outside businesses in their communities. It be them. And see, that's how we have to be. Same way. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but this society tries to make us feel ashamed about that. But I'm tired of these. I'm tired of us putting our faith in these old white men that's not going to save us. Ain't thinking about us. Joe Biden is the one who wrote the crime bill. Kamala Harris was locking brothers up, coming and going out there in California. Have y'all forgot that quick, really? Honestly? I know a lot of y'all are too young to remember that, but I'm not. I remember that vividly. You know, how she was the talk of the, they loved her because she was throwing us away out there in California. You can't get nobody. You got some folk out in California, ask somebody in Cali. If you know somebody from Cali, ask them if they support in Hyde and Harris. Because I can guarantee you they don't. Biden ain't done shit for us, and that's why I call him Ain't Shit Joe. And in Hyde and Harris. Yeah, that's my name for him. Because she been hiding the whole vice presidency till now. Because now you got to try to drum up that black vote. And then you got Donald Trump sitting in a black church in Georgia, I think it was. And you got these buck dancing Sambos kumbayaing with that fool. See, I'm not voting again. And y'all can say what you want. You're not going to vote shame me. I don't care what nobody say. To each his own. Democrats ain't never done nothing for us. Neither have Republicans. They are two wings on the same bird. A vote don't get you nothing but that little white sticker. Like I always say, it don't get us no legislation. It don't get us nothing that's truly beneficial. And that's why we have to start using one another in a beneficial way. And putting our dollars back in each other's pockets. That's how we need to start doing business. We make and spend more than any ethnicity in this country. We make it and give it right back to them. That's what we do. And then, this is for everybody. Why do we continue to pay taxes when we don't benefit from those tax dollars? As much warring as America does, tax dollars are always sucked up, dropping bombs somewhere, killing innocent civilians, and the children that have lost their lives in Gaza is astounding. I was listening to NPR radio the other day, and they said something like 16,000 children have lost their lives. And that's probably an underscore. Because the way that Israel has been dropping those bombs is relentless. But I'm worried about us. I'm not unsympathetic, but I'm worried about us. But what we should be focusing on right now in the turmoil, just look at all of the things that are going sideways for this country and them folks. Them real diehard racist folks is really showing their true colors right now. They want to check your here, what are you doing here? And you don't belong here, and this is our neighborhood. I don't get that. I don't get it, but to each his own. But I know they won't do that too. Uh, but, we are still so consumed into their religion. And we need to unlearn and relearn everything that is about uplifting us, nobody else, putting us first for a change. See, we still praying to that Jesus, and we need to just get back to meditating. It's in our spirit naturally. We ain't never needed nobody's religion. The creativity and ingenuity and an intellect that we have as a people. Do you think that we needed a religion to guide us? We were already being guided and doing very well until they came into the picture. And then chaos, death, destruction, rape, pillage, and everything else ensued. This is what their religion brought about, and they did a lot of things in the name of their religion. Slavery, they did in the name of their religion, and then would beat you until you said you submit to Jesus. And then that's passed down from generation, because you're going to tell your children are going to see that. They're going to definitely tell their children, do not go against the grain. But you're going to have some that's going to go against the grain anyway. It's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that spirit in somebody to, stand up for what's right. But back then, it cost you. Could cost you your life. So yeah, definitely from generation to generation that was passed down so that it could be avoided if possible. So that their children and grandchildren and so on wouldn't have to suffer that consequence simply for not following their commands. And that's why I say now we have all of the access to information, and we still somehow are blind to the facts. And yes, we are directly connected to the source. That's why we're despised the way we are. So, I mean, we can definitely take the time to put the work in so that we can benefit. We have done enough creations and inventions and all of that, and everybody else have benefited on them except us. And so it's time for us, why I say, to think black first and start using our intellect and profiting off of it, because if we don't, they will. And with the generations that we have coming up, they are, and we've got to corral that energy and then get their spirit right and get them off them YouTube channels. And we got to start creating things that are on that level, but created by us. So it will have more of a connected feel, so to say. But we cannot continue to send those dry prayers. We've got to start putting in the work. That's all we got to start doing. is continue to meditate on it, but do something every day, even if it's just that much. But do something every day to move forward. And then it's important too that we start networking and using these social media platforms to connect with like-minded brothers and sisters, and then start to build those communities, not just here where I'm at, but shoot, we can start building these communities nationwide, and we can start building and making connections nationwide, because that's really, honestly, truly what we need to do. We need to provide safety for one another, protection for one another, because we are forever hunted out here. It's still sundown towns in America in 2024. Trust me, I'm a truck driver. I've been all over this country and down some dark back road through the south and east. So that's all I'm saying. They still knocking on doors, stepping to the side, and shooting us in our own homes. I thought after Botham Jean, that was really going to become a thing. I don't know why I did. Let me just kill that thought right there. Because that's what that incident reminded me of. But understand this too. See, that young brother, Airman Fortson, if we as the community, as the people who are being victimized, come together and stay the fuck together. Stay together. We can stop those types of incidents. Because see, they don't fear any consequences. They know Ben Crump or Lee Merritt, one of these black attorneys, will show up, and they'll deal with them. And then, in most cases, no convictions, no jail time, but you get some money. And that's another thing that bothers me, see, because honestly, if we were united correctly, we would need no attorneys. We can be our own voice nationwide by simply connecting, working together, building it. I'm not the only one that feel like this. And I know I'm not, because I know several people who are like-minded. And I know that some of you who may glance at this video are like-minded. And this is why I say we got to connect wherever we at. Distance is not a thing. Like I say, I drive trucks. I've been all over this country. And I say I literally, except 3 states. But been through most of the major cities. I've been all over this country several times, 23 years driving. So I've seen a lot of people, I've met a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of like-minded brothers and sisters over the years out there on the road, and wish that I still had their information, because when you meet people like that, you stay connected for a minute, and then the phone calls kind of get further and further apart, unless you bump into one another again somewhere out there on the road. But I've met some good brothers and sisters out there on the road, concerned just like me. And I know a lot of you that's watching this concerned just like me, and want better just like me, deserve better just like me. And we can get better together. We can make it better. We can make it as good as we want it to be. by simply working together. It's simple. It's so simple. We can't keep waiting to get saved. And we should know by now, ain't no administration gonna save us. We have to be the saviors of ourselves. Period. The black man, the black woman. And then we have to start instilling in our children the truth about how life is going to really be unless the proper change occurs. And then that will pique their interest into trying to change. Then we got to get our culture back the way it used to be: concerned, caring, uh, people with integrity, morals, values, culture, family. You know, back when neighborhoods was safe, literally. I mean, you could leave your doors open, and there's some people my age that probably remember. You know, you could leave your doors open 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. You know, uh, you can't do things like that no more. And we got to rebuild our culture, our culture, and stop giving everything to them for them to profit. Because we have, like I say, created, invented, and done so many things that have made them folks billions of dollars. Still to this day, slavery being the biggest money grab that they made, that they had, what built this country. So, yes, we have got to definitely get on a mindset of saving ourselves and stop hoping that, they're going to change. They're not going to change. This system that they have created works for them. It keeps them in a position of power, not total power, but in a position of power and control, just because of the weapons and the money, period. And we can build that ourselves. Like I say, $1.3 trillion that they say every year, believe me, it's more than that. But if we were to start putting that money back into us, where it was flipping 16, 17, 18 times, staying in our hands, being passed among us, sharing the wealth, is, basically it. Supporting black businesses, then that helps, uh, do something else within the communities. We can't be focused on what they do with the money. It's not our business. But we don't worry about what Walmart doing with it, but Walmart definitely ain't putting it back into our pockets. Target, not in our pockets. These grocery stores, not in our pocket. And that's why I say we need everything. Everything. We've got to save ourselves. We need our own schools so that we can teach this knowledge and then start putting the knowledge of growing food again back into our children's curriculum so that they can eat healthy and not have to worry about all these old processed foods, because I don't trust nothing that's on these labels. You think you're getting organic, it may not be organic. And this system would do something like that, pull the wool over your eyes in a minute and have no shame. And that's the thing about this country. See, they created a deity, a religion, a whole image, and don't even follow it them damn selves. Yeah. Yeah, they don't follow it. They don't believe in it because they know it ain't real either. They know ain't nobody coming to save they asses. They know that ain't happening because they know that they people created that. And I've heard some of our brainwashed people. Well, they got it from Africa. No, there was nothing similar to what they created to what they had in Africa. And then not only that, the majority of us were already in this country, had ancestors that were already here in this country. Because all of us are not African like they want us to believe. But that's a whole nother subject too. And um, that's why I say, they have no remorse. I did a video on that. They have no shame, no guilt. They have no sense of that because they've never been held to account for the things that they have done. And the biggest being slavery. And still to this day, they have yet to atone for the biggest sin that they ever committed. The sin that built this country, built this country's economy, built everything in this country, built that shit in Washington, D.C. That was our ancestors that did that. Paved these roads, done all that manual labor for pennies. Nothing. So, yeah, white Jesus can't save them, and white men, brothers and sisters, can't save us. We got to save ourselves. So that's all I got. That's all I got. I just wanted to get that out there. We can't keep relying on these administrations either. Like I say, they not gonna save us. They don't give a damn about us. They just want us to keep pumping our money into their system. They want us to keep wasting our time going to vote for them and getting nothing in return. Nothing. And that's why I say we separate ourselves, just start separating ourselves economically, then we can build up our own safe havens. Because we deserve safety too, within and from forces without. Like I say, yeah, that's all I got. I love y'all. That's why I do it. Because I want us all, like I say, to just be able to live, and not have to always be in constant fear of, oh shit, I'm getting pulled over. Damn, do I got my license? Do I got my, I mean, it's sad. I'm 54 and I still have those types of reactions. But they quickly leave because I am standoffish with them. What are you stopping me for? First question. That'll let you know if you got an asshole cop or not. And then in some cases, that might get you pulled out of the car. In some cases. But it's sad that we have, even within the police departments, there are cliques of our own people who would do you worse than those white cops. And we all got an example of that. We all saw that with the case that happened in Memphis. So, y'all, we need each other. Real talk. Real talk. I don't want a whole hour almost. So, yeah, let me get off of here. Uh, like I always say, I appreciate y'all subscribing, share it if you like it, with somebody that might feel the same way. Because, like I say, it's about us getting together now and getting something rolling now. We can organize from wherever we're at. And that's what it's time to do. Like I always say in closing, plan, organize, and unify. Because we all have a key right here, right here. I'm out. Peace, power, and love.